fast forward just a little bit. So now you're happy, you're out, you're in a relationship, and then you choose to adopt twins.
Yeah.
Black twins, respect. How has fatherhood been?
Crazy. Like nothing I have ever attempted or done has come anywhere close. Has been as rewarding or as hard. Like I knew it would be more rewarding based on what everybody said. I mean, you never really know, right? Until it's you. I didn't understand how hard it would be. I didn't understand how physically hard it would be. Like in those first weeks. And I say, obviously, you know, men relate to things differently. Like I didn't have to like, you know, neither one of us had to go into labor, but just the first few weeks where like they tell you they need to feed every 3 hours or so, right?
Yeah.
They don't mention that that means they need to start to feed every 3 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
You got it.
And our daughter had this reflux thing where you couldn't really lay her down after feeding her. So it was really like at least an hour and a half upright. And anything else you want to do, you have to do in between. Like you start the clock, you're feeding them, and there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
And you got the bottles. We had this like contraption, this like pillow you could use to actually bottle feed 2 twins at once, which was amazing.
There's like fake breast type
no, there's this like, I don't even know if that's a real thing or not. There's this like fake image that goes around online of me with one of these like contraptions, which I didn't know it existed. I don't know if it's a real thing or just someone being a dick. But no, oh yeah, this is like a whole thing. There's like these right-wing account. It's like this like contraption.
Like fake breasts, like a mechanism with fake.
Yeah, maybe that is a thing. I don't know, but like
seems,
no, I just use like bottles, like you might expect. And that was just like the first few weeks and months, and then both of them had some medical challenges early on. And one of them had an extremely serious medical problem, which he recovered from. And that was the most terrifying thing in my life. And then. And it's hard to believe because we were fighting. They were also kind of early or premature. It's not unusual with twins, but especially in their case. And we fought so hard just to get them on the chart. Like you would count down to the milliliter, like how much food they're taking, you know, how much they're taking. And now like, they're just like wolfing down. He'll like take one of those Uncrustables. Their kids are 3.5 now.
Yeah.
Our son will take one of those Uncrustables and just the entire thing.
One bite.
And I'm thinking like, how in this short of a time has that happened? And just every day there's this new challenge and you have to like relate to what is a big deal to them. Which is even harder than relating to somebody on the opposite end of the political spectrum, right? Because like you have to, obviously part of your job is to like teach them what does and doesn't matter and what to care about. But the other day, just 2 days ago, our son came into the kitchen and he was playing out on this little deck that we have. It's a wooden deck. And he says, Papa, I need a Band-Aid. I got a boo-boo. And I'm like, oh, show me. And he like lifts up at his foot and it's clear that what he's actually got is a splinter. And he has like some idea of what a splinter is, but not really. And then Chasten and I Chasten kind of was more on the ball than I was as usual, and like starts preparing like a thing of warm water to soak his foot in to try to help work it out. And then that doesn't exactly like do anything right away. And plus it starts hurting. And by the time we got to the tweezers, it was like a Civil War amputation. Like to him.
I remember.
Give him the whiskey.
He used to kill me. Oh God! I was such a baby about it. You gotta get deep in there, pull that stuff.
And it sounds like comical now, but like to him, it might as well be. Like he's 3, he doesn't know. Right? It's terrifying for him. And like I'm trying to hold him because he's also a moving target, and Chasten's got the tweezers, and then we're both starting to feel this guilt about like is one of his foundational memories going to be, you know, us like holding him while he's like shrieking in pain and afraid. And then as the splinter comes out, and Chasten's like, I got it, it's out. He's like weeping, shrieking, he goes, thank you.
So cute.
And there's just these moments you just can't script, like you can't see them coming. And every day it's like some new challenge. Our daughter loves asking me now about my work, which was actually a really healthy way to be forced to explain what I do all day. So this started happening when I was secretary. Like I put her down at bedtime. There's a whole bedtime ritual. This is coming your way. How old is your
14 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're getting there where like talk about like the Administrative Procedures Act was one thing when I was trying to build a bridge, but like just to like extract myself from the room, it's like, did you tell the neighbors to be quiet? Yes. Yes, Penelope, I told the neighbors to be quiet. And then Gus is like, are you going to scare away the dinos? I was like, yes, if any dinos come here, I'm going to scare them away. And there's this like whole like ritual checklist you got to go through, right? But as part of it, she was like, tell me your work. And I remember asking her, like, because after she said it 2 or 3 times at bedtime, like, does me talking about my job like help you go to sleep? And she says, yeah. And the first time
curiosity is such a good trait, though.
Yeah, you want to nurture that, and you want them to relate to what you do. So the first time I was thinking, like, well, tomorrow I'm testifying in the Appropriations Committee, and then I got to make sure that we get this regulation out. Like, that probably doesn't make sense to her. But then gradually I realized I could say, like, I'm going to make the airplane safer tomorrow. Or like, there's a bridge that broke and I'm going to help make the bridge, get the bridge back together. And she relates. She's like, are you bringing tape? Like, no, actually this one's even too big for tape. She's like, oh, a hammer. I was like, yeah, some hammers are definitely going to be involved. And, having to explain what you do to a 3-year-old is actually a pretty good exercise in thinking about what really is important.
Talking to Americans.
It's hard now. Like now, so I teach a day a week. I teach at the University of Chicago, and so I realized I could explain that to her. She's like, tell me your work. I'm like, well, I'm a teacher for grown-ups. And she thought about it for a while, and she said, but I thought you were our papa. I was like, well, I'm definitely your papa. Like, that's my most important job, and I'm also a teacher for grown-ups a little bit. And then she says, it's hard to be both. I was like, yeah, work-life balance. That's the thing. But
like, contractors suck. You're like, I know.
Oh man, our little guy Gus, like a lot of boys, he's like all about heavy equipment and construction stuff. And so he's super excited. There's this massive road project going on in Traverse City, Michigan, where we live, which I might mention was funded by the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act and signed off by the Department of Transportation.
So that's why you did it.
Just saying. No, so you say that. Another example of caring about rules. Like, I sent that one back 3 times to be like triple checked because I saw it on the list and I knew that I lived close to it. I was like, I need to make sure that the career staff certify that this is a deserving project. Otherwise, it looks like I sent a project to my neighborhood. Like, that's the kind of stuff you worry about, or you should worry about in public office. But there's all this heavy equipment. There's excavators and bulldozers. Just like, he's like so happy, but he's really like monitoring them. Like, if it's ever like after hours, he's like, why aren't the workers working? I was like, well, it's at the end of the day.
I'm wondering the same thing.
I want them working overtime. What's overtime? Bubs, it's Sunday. Like, they're not working today. He's like, why aren't they working?
Wow.
But it's the best. It's the best thing. It's the hardest thing.
Have you thought about, like, when your son gets older, his experience in the world probably different from yours? Like, how would you have those combos with him? Or even, let's say, your daughter, like, learning to deal with her hair. It's going to be a little difficult. Like, how have you thought about these things? Do they concern you?
Yeah, we think about it all the time. And it's not like we have it all figured out. So we were in...
but if anybody knows how important identity is,
of course. So we were in what's called a surprise adoption scenario. So we literally, I was at work, I was traveling, we got a phone call, Chasten called me, and the next day we were in a rural Midwestern hospital holding him in our arms, and they were like 1 day old. Like, it was like that. Like, just from like normal life to like, and by the way, it's twins. Which was amazing.
You didn't know it was twins before.
We were just on a list. We said that we were willing to adopt, or we wanted to adopt. We said that we wanted to adopt without regard for race. By the way, anybody who says race is not a thing in this country should experience an adoption process where there are literally different lists. If you say that you want a white kid only, versus if you say that doesn't matter. Like, literally a different list.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
The list for white kid only is longer. And not only that, there was actually a discount, or you didn't have to pay a deposit on the fee.
Discounts.
This is like how it works. I couldn't believe it. So we didn't know anything about the racial identity of the kids until they started to look mixed race, which they are. And like contending with like the hair thing is already like a thing, and like lots of advice, especially from like Black parents who like see stuff on Instagram, or they're like, let me tell you how to do it. Like a lot of advice. And like to begin with, like the idea of being a girl dad and dealing with girl hair was pretty intimidating. Like my hair is like very simple and straightforward. Obviously, I'm a low maintenance kind of guy. And like starting to learn about like all the different products that are involved. Him too. Like we have like a whole sequence with you know, a conditioner and then essential oils, all this stuff. And you're always asking yourself, like, how can I be, you're already constantly asking yourself, how can I be a good dad? And now it's like, how can I be a good dad for kids who have a different racial identity than I do? And how can I help them navigate that? And what are the circumstances where there's nothing I can do to help them navigate that? And I need to connect them up to mentors and people in their lives, because the reality is like, this is not a colorblind society, and like their lives will be affected in some way by their racial, all of ours are, but one thing about being white is you don't have to think about the fact that when you're white, your racial identity is not something that you're reminded of all the time, in a way that they will be. And we live in a not super diverse, although it's getting more diverse, part of Michigan. But our hope is that they will, by the time they're old enough to even be wondering and thinking about these things, which I know is coming sooner than we think, that they know that they are loved and that they are safe, and that they're growing up into a world that has so much possibility for them, and that we'll be there for them any way we can.